Welcome to episode 12 of season 6, A Whole Lot of Wolves. I'm Joshua Buckley with co-host Paula Page.
Hello.
Alex in New York producing.
Greetings.
And from Atlanta Wolves, it is Kurt Zellner.
How's it going, everyone?
Many thought it couldn't get worse. Oh, but it actually did. So let's get straight to it. Wolves 2, Burnley 3. Paul, we'll get into later specifics as far as what happened after the game and in the parking lot. But this just doesn't even seem like the Wolves team we've grown to love since they came back in the Premier League.
Like my prediction was an Ipswich game like last season where we lost in the last minute and the coach got fired, and that went exactly to plan apart from the last part, which is probably the most crucial out of everything that's going on at the moment. So it just goes to show what a cluster it is from the first 11 all the way through to the ownership right now. It can't get any worse.
Yeah, well, never say never. I still think it could. So the lineup was interesting. We came in thinking that, okay, this may be Vitor's last stand. Who is he going to throw out there? Certainly didn't expect to have João Gomez on the bench and have Kiana Hoover, who half the time I forget is even still on this roster, starting for Wolves. Kurt, what did you think of that lineup?
I think the challenge is, and it's probably a testament to how many times he's changed the lineup, is there's just gaps. And then people like Cunha haven't been replaced. So you're stuck in a world where you're trying to figure out, how do I fit the guys I have into positions that they're not necessarily cut out for? And you just lack a bit of sort of creativity. So I think I'm not the biggest fan of Hoover, but I also felt like it made sense because he gave you something slightly different than Doc. But as we saw how it played out, it's challenging to do anything once we get to the ball to the final third. So,
yeah, it was very odd. Rodriguez Gomez did get the start up top again with Arias and JSL. Alex, it seemed like some of the guys did really come out fired up, and Rodrigo was one of them. And I do feel like JSL did not have a great game, but it felt like he had that passion and was trying to get the crowd into it.
Yeah, I think so. I think Gomez definitely came out with the look of a player who was playing in a game where his manager's job is on the line, and arguably, a 6-pointer, as they say, in terms of the relegation battle. I thought he looked really bright. I thought there were parts of this team that didn't necessarily look so great in the first half, except for the final 5 minutes or so of the half. But Rodrigo came out on fire. I really liked what I saw. I mean, he had that interception early in the game, like the 5th minute or so, which led to him carrying the ball down the field with Jurgen to his right. Didn't really have an angle to cross the ball, so ended up taking a kind of weak shot with his wrong foot, the left foot. And it was like a minute or two later that he put in a really good cross that actually Dubravka had to save because it sailed over Larsson's head. So while that wasn't a shot, I mean, I'll take it because of how few shots we usually create. But that was a really dangerous cross. You could argue, Jurgen on his day, times the jump right, whatever, it probably gets there. So at least, you could say he was creating chances early, certainly getting me excited early on in the match, and then things kind of fizzled from there. So he finally looked like a winger. Like, whether he belongs in that position or not, I have no idea. Again, most of our players seem like they're playing positions that aren't their natural positions. I thought he was a right wing back. He's starting as a left winger in the Premier League. But he looked good. I have to say, I want to give him credit because he's one of these guys who's been in and out of the team, and I understand how lame it is to say after you lose to Burnley and still sit here on Halloween almost without a win. But there are some players who are playing really hard, and what that means about Vitor, I don't know. What it means about them, like, maybe they'll be really good players next season, whatever league we're in. And the type of players who will play around and stick through the real shit times. So we saw that at least.
Paul, I tweeted during the match kind of early on Rodrigo's miss. I said, man, not only Are we not that good? We're not very lucky either. And boy, that came back to show in the 14th minute when Fleming probably makes a shot that he can't even make in training, where he just one touches it right past Johnston. And then again, 30 minutes later, he scores another one. I mean, this is a guy that has no business scoring at all, and he scored 2 right there. Well, you just kind of felt like, oh, this is not going to end well at that point.
Yeah, because again, at the end of the day, you'll take a result like that or a performance against your 2 centre halves, one who's arguably been our best player at the summer signings, albeit is the only one that actually starts. But to get bullied by a lone striker of Burnley, it was like Chris Wood Mark II all over again from someone who's done little to nothing all season. All of a sudden, his shot rocks up at Molyneux. He's a world beater, and he's putting in the type of performance that we want our number 9 to put in. So I'm not sure if it's luck or a component of things, but it's just when you're coming up against these players, they're taking their opportunities. On the flip side, we're not, and that's purely a quality thing. You talk about Rodrigo Gomez's chance. Like, how many players in the Premier League in his position would have put that away?
It's
you know, the XG of that Menezes one on running through on goal with Rodrigo on his left in the second half. What's the XG on that? That how many teams in the
probably
Premier League
4
put it away? You know, and even when that broke through, I'm like, nothing's gonna happen here. You know, you're like, that's my expected goal. My expected goal is a big fat 0 because the players are on the pitch.
Wolves were given a lifeline, though. Kurt, since the day we met, Wolves had not had a single penalty. That was back with the Premier League mornings in Nashville against West Ham was the last time Wolves had gotten a penalty. But they did this time. And you know what? JSL buried it. Kind of maybe thinking the tide was turning.
Yeah, so I at first when they showed some of the replays, I thought was one where you could make the excuse that he might have got some of the ball. I thought it was our luck that it was one where you could find an excuse as to why it wasn't a penalty. But I was glad they gave it, because at first I was worried that they were going to overturn the call for a penalty, and we had the ball in a good spot before that. So I was worried it was going to be the double whammy of it's not a penalty, and it kills some of the momentum we just had in that moment. But yeah, JSL buried it. I think every Wolves supporter was sitting there thinking that he was going to kick it over, or is it going to get saved, and is the pain going to continue? But actually, buried an incredible penalty. And actually, at that moment, it felt like, even going up to that, we had a lot of momentum. I think there have been a number of matches this year where it's felt like we've had the chances. We've dominated the play, and it just takes a couple of mistakes, takes an incredible shot by the other team that's put us behind. So this was another one where I felt like there was no reason we couldn't get back into it. And we talked about Rodrigo Gomez. The challenge seems to be getting shots on goal. So I felt like this is another one where we have enough pressure, we have enough possession, we should be able to get back in this game. And I think that penalty was a great turning point where it felt like, hey, maybe we can salvage something out of this.
I watched that JSL penalty like this. Like, I couldn't even watch it full blown because I was totally convinced he was missing it. Kurt talked about was feeling good, and 4 minutes into that first half of stoppage time, our favorite scorer, Mario Menezes, buried it again. A nice header on a cross by Bellegarde to Krejci. What did you think at that point, Alex? Did you think, okay, we've survived the storm, here we come?
Yes, actually. My feeling, well, at that moment, I was just glad to get a second goal before halftime. I feel like that changes everything. And like Kurt said, I thought it definitely felt like momentum was heavily in Wolves' favor. So going in even, at 2-2, I thought there's a chance they could come out in the second half and win this. And honestly, for a good portion of the second half, I did feel like it was going to be a 3-2 Wolves win, and just maybe, I mean, where it would go from there, I don't know, but possible for the season, a possible galvanizing moment for the fans who have had to endure what everybody has been enduring so far this season. And obviously we know how that went, but I was feeling good about that. My other thought was also how kind of depressed I get about the idea that Krejci sometimes looks like our most dangerous player in the box. Like, and this guy, whether he was signed to be a midfielder or a center back, the bottom line is he is a center back at Wolves. And why do the best chances in the box fall to him? And it's not even like on corners necessarily. Like sometimes it's just in the regular run of play where he decides like, all right, screw this, I'm going up in there. Like there was that volley he almost hit that I think got blocked and deflected. He hit that pretty damn cleanly. Yeah, it's a problem when you're when you're center back who's played a handful of games in the Premier League, is like honestly one of your most dangerous players. But jokes aside, yeah, I think yeah, it felt like it was going the right way. It also felt like Bellegarde was really getting into the game. Like, I don't know. There were so many positive signs for a little. And it's so hard to really reflect and remember that now, given everything that's happened like since the 94th minute of that match. Like that's it's insane.
As Andrew Breyer points out, I keep calling him Mario. I don't know why. He looks like a Mario. Whatever, sue me.
I have to admit, I didn't know either if it was just a bit that you were going to continue to run with, because like he's also wearing the number 5.
It's because I'm an idiot on painkillers. Let's roll.
Okay.
Not all the time, just this episode, right? And I'm not drinking, so we're good there. Paul, the second half, it seemed like something was missing, and it wasn't going to give him over the top, and it kind of felt like, well, we're looking at a disappointing draw.
There was a lot of huff and puff, and that all comes down to that one word that we've been missing all season so far, is creativity. The only one who showed any inkling of it yesterday was Bellegarde. And he would pick up the ball, he would run at a man, he would beat a man, he would retain possession, it would stick to his feet in the final third. But the thing is, we needed that across the whole of the forward line. We needed that level of output from JSL, from Arias, who was anonymous, from Menezzi beyond his goal. He's popping up in the right place at the right time, but he's doing absolutely next to nothing for the remaining minutes of the game. It's a total, we're playing as a luxury, and it just goes on and on, that even when it comes to any tactical nous from Vitor to change it and see where he could potentially turn the screw. Again, we're not talking world beaters. We're not talking about Champions League participants. We're talking about freaking Burnley. He's looking to the bench. He's bringing players on. They're doing nothing. I got no idea where Wang was supposed to be playing. Absolutely zero to this moment. Like Tolu, how long do you keep him on? And then you bring him on, and it's still that jacked up formation of 2 up front, and just no creativity to get the ball to those players that you're bringing on to do the damage. It just, I can't keep on going over the same week in, week out of how many failings there are on this pitch and in the dugout.
Yeah, so you mentioned Bellegarde. I just wanted to quickly add, one of my favorite things about him is how much he plays through contact, and it's just like a lost art in the Premier League. You know, like I think he is someone who either that's just how he's wired, or understands like we're Wolves, we're not getting these calls. So I just got to kind of get on with it. Like there's multiple times a game I feel like when he's kind of asked to carry the ball a lot or be a creative force for this team, where he goes to ground and continues to play, not expecting a whistle, which I really appreciate. And honestly is one of the reasons I could kind of understand what Vitor is talking about. Like, I think there are a handful of players that came out and did seem like they were really giving their all for this team, which is why Vitor was disappointed in the reaction. You can't say that for everyone, though. And also, like, it's not Vitor's job to tell fans how to feel. So that's why it's like, while I can empathize with him, like, you could look at a performance like you got from Bellegarde and be like, how could you say this guy's not giving it all? At the same time, like, dude, look at the results. Like, of course the South Bank's going to be pissed,
And it felt like one where if you had Arias giving you some similar creativity on the other side to Bellegarde, I think it would have worked. And actually, I'm surprised Arias, and it may be because he was supposed to be this pinnacle signing, I think he's gotten more of a leash than most of these other guys, and I think that's where Joao Gomez would have been a game changer. Arias did have the one free kick, but otherwise, I felt like he hasn't given us really much in the last few matches, and yet it's almost like guaranteed that he's going to get a lot of minutes. And then I felt like Vitor was in this weird situation where he knew the last few matches that were close, he brought on defenders. So I think he made a point to bring on more attacking people, but it felt forced. And even with Twang, I completely agree. It felt like they brought him out and he didn't really serve a role. And then Tulu was probably too late to make a difference. So it felt like they didn't really have a plan other than bring on more attackers.
I'm glad you brought up Arias, because that was actually who I was going to bring up next, Paul. He did have that really good free kick, which could have broken the stalemate there, but he's been awful on crosses. He's not the guy we've expected. I am starting to think that he's going to get loaned out in January back to South America. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think if that type of stuff happens, it just goes to show how much of a shit show it is when it comes to
I agree,
and everything. I feel like what's just been said, there's a lot of clutching at straws for him to say he should be our figurehead and our creative outlet, and it's just not there right now. But I can't see if he's starting in the Premier League, I can't see him being loaned out.
I just don't know. I'd be curious to know if he's happy at Wolves, because his whole thing was
that's
all this extra money.
That's a fair point. You do have to factor in the minutes he's got in his legs already from that Brazilian season into the English one. So that stacks up. You do go back to when Cunha signed, and Cunha's output wasn't great initially. So, but at the end of the day, it all goes into like how can you manage that time, manage that minutes effectively, even if it's bursts off the bench or he coming into the team that way. But it's just a case of the remainder of the recruitment was so poor that you're looking around, there's no one else to really come in and do anything that you can rely on. So damned if you do, damned if you don't with Arias, I think.
And it's probably hard to predict any January business without knowing who the manager is going to be, which is another thing, because like I would say if Vitor were to somehow ride this out and still be in the job in January, then for Lopez should be the guy going out on loan. And like he doesn't rate him clearly for some reason, or doesn't think he's ready. So he's not going to loan out Arias if the literal only other winger we have is Swang, who can't stay fit, and for Lopez. I agree, by the way, with John McKenzie's comment that for Lopez deserves a shot, but I just think in general he deserves a shot to be playing somewhere. So if he's not going to play at all, then he's like the January loan candidate. He's too young to have, and has way too high potential to have his career stunted due to a lack of squad depth, like the Fabio Silva way, although it's not by injury, it's just by general shit. from from Fosun. I don't know.
Well, it's weird because I would think Vitor is just trying to count on guys that he think can save his job, as most of us probably would. You're going to count on the guys you trust, which is why Manetzi's always in there. But then to have Hoover in there, who I don't think he really trusted at all, I don't know. I still think the Fur thing is just he doesn't think Fur is ready for the type of just absolute scrap we're in, which sucks because that was like one of the biggest signings. What was it? Second biggest based on dollar value, or was it the biggest? I don't remember. And we didn't do anything for a month and a half after getting him. Just ridiculous. Also ridiculous, Paul, was that last goal. Burnley's doing everything possible to try and run off the clock, and then they get, what do you know? Poor Bellegarde, who had just been great all game. Kind of like that game a few weeks ago when Chichua was amazing and makes one bad mistake, and you're the villain very quickly. And they scored, and that was it. Burnley 3, Wolves 2. I felt it was coming. You felt it was coming too, Paul. I know you.
It had that unearned feeling about it. Like, weirdly, if they'd have came out all guns blazing in the second half and got that third goal early, I had a pretty good feeling that they could have gone on and won it quite comfortably, probably got a fourth. But as it just went on and went on and went on, it just had that air of inevitability about it, exactly like Ipswich last year. And again, it comes down to like those fine margins. Is there anyone in that Wolves team, if you'd have given that chance to in the 95th minute in that position, you'd have really been confident of him putting it away? Because I'm struggling right now based on the form that they're all in. So
Jow would have launched that like 15 yards into the south.
Yeah, Arias would have hit the post. Rodrigo Gomez would have fluffed it on his left foot, had scuffed it wide. So
JSL would have fallen down.
Yeah. So it's the way it is at the moment.
Probably Krejci would have been the one with the best chance to put that away.
Yeah.
God, we suck. Well, then after the match, Vitor and JSL and some of the others tried to go to the South Bank to at least say thank you to the fans, maybe try and say sorry. That did not turn out well, Kurt. Now, you're the last one of us to be over in England. When you see Vitor over there, were you shocked at or you can't have been surprised at what happened?
No, I don't think you can be surprised about the reaction. I think quite frustrating, the ending. So any reaction I think is going to be negative. I don't think he takes all the blame. I think you can probably say, if you're him, I don't know. Some people said he said some stuff. I don't know if you can, as a manager, if you just have to accept that loss and accept that, hey, you should have maybe tried something different. I don't know. I don't think this one lands on him, although I find sort of those situations, like the one-on-ones with the keeper, I'm surprised Saw has fallen out of favor so much, because other than the ones that hit Sam Johnson in the chest, I don't think he probably has that many incredible saves. So felt like it was one that could have been saved, and then to add insult to injury, Vitor goes over to the South Bank and expects maybe a bit more sympathy from the supporters that he didn't get. So it's challenging. And then I know with JSL, I think the frustration there is just he's been the go-to guy, the guy they've expected to get some goals, and he really hasn't provided that this season. So the frustration is warranted, but I'm not sure if JSL or Vitor are the ones who probably deserve most of the negativity. It probably does land on Fosun more than anyone.
Okay, well let's see it. I don't think Kurt is Vitor out, correct?
No, I don't think he's the issue, unfortunately. I wish it was that easy to plug and play someone new in, but I think you're in a dangerous situation of trying to implement a new scheme at this point and things looking a lot worse. Because actually, for better or worse, we were in the position. We had guys in the position to score all match. I think had you had a little bit more talent, I think you would have won that match handily. I think the issue is the talent on the pitch was not there, and that's why you get the results you have. That you can't survive making one or two mistakes on your side of the pitch because they end up in goals because there's just so many gaps in talent.
And I know Paul is a Vitor out at this point.
Yeah, but I agree with a lot of that. At the same time, that you can only play with the cards that you dealt. And I think the biggest fear around Vitor was that he's got a limited skill set, and it's fine when you've got a Cunha to rely on or an out-Nuri creativity from left wing back. But when you dug in the trenches and you're looking for ideas to try and turn it around, I just don't think he's got that level of capability to do it. And my only thought here is, again, like, it's totally clutching at straws that you're able to get someone in that can work with that body of players and just craft something that's functional just to keep them up. But that just pisses you off even more because it's Groundhog Day of rinse and repeat and circling the drain, and it'll happen again next season if they're fortunate to come out of it. And it all goes back to the setup of the whole club.
Alex, what are your thoughts? Vitor in or out?
For the time being, I think still in. Last week we kind of predicted if they were to lose, would he still be there? I said yes, because I think Fosun have to hold out. I don't think they want to buy him out. And he's definitely part of the issue, but he isn't the whole issue, and he's definitely not the biggest issue, like Kurt said. I mean, I think I agree with what both Kurt and Paul say. I just feel like it is a really dangerous game to go and make a change now, because you still are going to be stuck with this squad until January, and I just don't know who would step in and really turn the tide with this squad, right? Like, it would need that one transfer window at minimum. And are we more likely to get points in over the next 2 months with a new manager, or with the guy who, for better or worse, whether he's a good manager or not, has at least spent a long time with this terrible squad? It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, they're just running out of options. Like, and Sai says in the comments, like, we still don't know who our first 11 are, and I can't decide who our number one is. I agree with both of those things. And like, again, that's partly Vitor's fault, but more so Fosun's fault, because he's trying to figure it out. I still think, I don't know if I just saw a completely different game than everybody else, because I also feel like I have listened to other people who were at Molineux, like on the fan cast and things, that were extremely unimpressed with the way Wolves came out. But I thought Vitor got a tune out of them. Now, it was Burnley, right? But it seemed like some guys came out with hot piss, with a spark lit under their butt.
Yeah, I felt like that too. I agree with you, Alex. I was noticing everybody's like, oh, nobody had anything to them except JRB, and I was like, really? I thought even JSL, I felt like, came out motivated.
Yeah, unless Fosun have some like really like a one master stroke left, which, like, of course no one believes that, then I almost feel like you have to stick with him a little bit longer. Like, there's not a Lopetegui waiting in the wings,
Yeah.
There's just not this time around. And what this team needs is leadership, and I'm not saying they're getting that from Vitor, but I don't know that they get it from elsewhere. And like we're saying about the owners, which I know we're going to talk about, it's like it could be better with a different ownership group. It could also be worse, and the same goes for a manager in this situation.
Yeah. How many people said anybody but Gary O'Neill? And now we've got somebody in there going, anybody but Vitor. It's like, well, we're running out of anybody's here. And I still am waiting for someone to give me the name of who's going to get us out of this mess, because I don't know if that person's out there. Paul?
Neither do I. I don't think Fosun are going to pay any type of compensation to get a young up-and-comer or someone currently in a role. You've just got that horrible, unnerving feeling that it'd be some Gestafu extension who's been bouncing around different teams, the season here, 2 seasons there, a stint in China. Even like the mentions of Kevin Muscat, it's just like that doesn't grab you at all, just because there's that you want that quality. You the only people who are going to get you out of this are those people who can work with the shit that we've got, that can get the maximum out of some very, very average players, some borderline championship players that need to overperform to even stand a shot of staying in the league. And I don't know who that high caliber coach is, or if he's out there, whether he'd even want to come and risk his reputation at Wolves. Never mind work for Jeff fucking Shee.
Sometimes I wish this was NBA basketball, and Kurt and Alex, I know, will both appreciate this. Because, hey, it worked for Greg Popovich. Didn't work so much for Isaiah Thomas. Let Jeff Shee come on down. Let him coach the team. Let's see it. Maybe that's the one way to get him out. Or maybe he turns into, the next Sir Alex. I don't know. I bet he thinks he could.
I don't think Jeff would want to pay for the additional security that would be needed if he were to be out on the touchline with his team and witness another loss like we saw against Burnley or something like that going forward.
I bet you he wouldn't go to the South Bank after a game like that.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be hiding. He's been hiding, except, when he randomly pops up to talk about esports or if it's a good window. One person who wasn't hiding on Sunday with this video that came out, a lot of things to talk about here, and that was Jose Sa had a confrontation, you could say, with the fans. Very interesting video. I'm sure everybody's seen it now on Twitter. First of all, Kurt, how do like 5 guys just randomly get this amount of time in front of Jose Sa? Like, I could never imagine this happening in American sports.
The whole interaction was sort of a head scratcher. I thought surely someone would come break it up. That there would, but actually, if anything, I was surprised Jose Sa was willing to entertain it for that long. But everything said and done, I think he has the right to be mad. I think he has the right to be frustrated. I think he lost his position based off a small sample size. And what we've seen is that the trend of our defenders letting our keeper down is something that happens time and time again. And I think Jose Sa has shown us that he can actually make saves, which isn't something that's proven with Sam Johnson. So I think it's probably the most concerning part is it shows that this team is sort of starting to fracture, and you're starting to see guys really frustrated with their role, frustrated with how things are going. And I think maybe that's where you have to move on from Vitor, because you need someone to right the ship from a team perspective. And he's been with Joao Gomez getting frustrated about his role, Andre taking off down the tunnel. I think there's some real signs that say things are not right in the dressing room. And you just hate for it to be this public. So I think that's what kills me is I think highly of these guys. I think generally we have a lot of guys who are high character, handle themselves in a really professional way. So I thought that was a bad look, but probably probably gives you some idea of how things are behind the scenes.
Alex, how much liquid courage would you have to get in Jose Sa's face telling him he sucks?
I mean, a ton. I just saw, I don't know if have you guys seen those videos online? Or maybe this is just my weird algorithm that show different predatory animals and the safe distance you have to keep from them. And it's like
I saw that today.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Okay. So
Yeah.
for some reason, this is making its way in the wolves algorithm, and it's like a black bear is like the furthest one, and like a crocodile you can get like 9 meters from because you just whatever they like can't see and they just run sideways. Jose saw I'm like a good 100 yards away from at all times if he's feeling like attacking anything. So quite a bit of liquid courage. Although it is interesting, and I saw frequent guest Drew Breyer say it looks like Jose Sa even told the security guy allow the fan to speak, which he definitely did. So like I again,
he said we're just talking, we're having a conversation.
Like Kurt, I'm like amazed that he's even like willing to entertain that, you know, from a bunch of fans. So I guess you could commend him for that. I cannot believe that last year we saw you know, we witnessed like Mario Lemina like meltdown, who was the captain of the club, have what felt like a complete mental breakdown. We witnessed Cunha rip the glasses off and like shove an old man that worked for Ipswich. We saw all kinds of calamities, players fighting with each other after a bad result on the pitch, and we're still here. Like we're still in this situation where a deflating loss at any moment could send us into a tailspin where it's like security actually has to get involved to calm the players down. I can't.
It was just so wild to me. Like, was he just driving out and saw those guys and was like, "Fuck it, I'm getting out of the car, I'm gonna have a conversation." I couldn't stop laughing watching at this video. Just the absurdity of it. And then, number one, Jose Sa's gotten pretty dang good at English, and props to him, man. He laid it on there. And then he's like, "You're right. We are shit, right?"
It's like,
and then they're like, "Well, whose fault is it?" And he's like, No. I'm not going to say. And then he comes back and goes, "Well, it's not just the player."
Oh man, yeah, that's great. It's like hilarious too because all those things that happened last year. Vitor came, he wins 6 in a row. You have him drinking beers in pubs with fans, and now our altercations with fans, instead of like enjoying a beer and smiling after a win, is like literally like he's like, what would happen if he were in a bar right now with fans? He can't show his face anywhere. Probably. I heard them talking about that in the fan cast.
Even when we do get those 3 points, he ain't going anywhere.
The pints are done, I think. Now all interactions with players and coaches going forward are actual like altercations that require police presence or something. It's just so pathetic.
You know what? I give Sa a lot of credit. I can't see any American athlete doing what he did. Man, and I don't know whether to call those guys who were accosting him knuckleheads or bravo to them too. I don't know. That was a little dicey. That could have gone in so many ways. I just feel like I could talk about this whole video for an hour itself. It was so fascinating to watch. And we thought that was, it's not going to get any worse than that. And then, whoa, we woke up to find John Textor is offering 200 million and a bunch of monopoly money to try and buy Wolves from Fosun, which, I don't think they want any of his shares.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of a chat GPT answer in that John Textor wants to buy Wolves because of their ownership model of buying Portuguese players that doesn't really happen anymore. And we only really have that entry into the market thanks to the current owner's stake in the super agents agency. So it just looked like, who can we pick that people would have heard of that there's potentially some opportunity for them to buy it? And I'm firmly of that conspiracy theory that they're just throwing his name out because it's probably even worse than what we've got now, and it's just to tell everyone like, look, it can get a lot worse. Be careful what you wish for, John Textors. And it's like,
I am firmly in the belief that Jeff Shee threw that out there just to be like, you guys saying you want anybody but, well, here you go.
Yeah.
And let's not hate on his cowboy hat look. Maybe not as good as me, but there should only be one American cowboy at Molyneux, right, Kurt?
And it's one where he's involved with teams in Brazil that were involved in potentially match fixing. He financial fraud with the Lyon in France. It's like the list was so bad. I agree. It's probably someone Fosun threw out there just to say, "Oh wow, we're in a good position actually," because it could be so much worse. It's
Lest
just
we
not
remember, he
practical.
tried to steal João Gomez from us.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Maybe he just wants to finally be a part of a team that has João. And he's willing to spend 250 million pounds or whatever to do it.
Yeah.
I want to say though, like we obviously all are in the Fosun out camp. I think we have to be. Like, you can't support this club and not be. But it is kind of depressing when you start to think about, like, in a similar vein, and when you're talking about like who could replace Vitor as a manager, who could replace Fosun, and actually be a steward of this club to carry them, to the next level, which is basically just being a mid-table Premier League team with some degree of aspiration. And it kind of sucks because it feels like the only options like currently that are realistic, like in the global sporting landscape, are like the Saudi royal family, or like a nation
Who
state.
don't want Wolves? Let's be honest, they don't want them.
An oil state, a corrupt billionaire businessman, much in the way of John Textor, who, if you do enough reading on them, you probably think, I feel a little morally obligated to like not want this person to be around my club. Or you need like a fan to like win the Mega Ball, like, or something like that. Like you need a fan of the club. Like I think like Derby County finally got bought out by a fan. And hell, like Tony Bloom is a Brighton fan. He grew up a Brighton fan and made his money gambling, and creating an algorithm that was like that he now uses for scouting in addition to like creating his gambling company on it. So yeah, I agree. I think this like could be a plant from Fosun, but it's like the type of person we want to come in and run this club. Those people are also really rare, The same way a manager who could come in and fix this shit that we're in is really rare, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I did see a worse idea than Fosun, and that was I saw somebody said, well, if the 32,000 were in attendance, each came up with $10,000. Then they could buy the club from Fosun, which I can only imagine a board meeting with 32,000 belligerent Wolves fans. I'm sure they would get so much work done, guys. We would be in a much better position.
That would be insane. Is there a world? I was trying to think of this before the show too. Is there a world where the way we can get everybody back on side without getting rid of Fosun for like the dream owner that doesn't exist, where we could just get rid of Jeff Shee? Like, is there any point that Fosun reach where they're like, whatever, pay him off the books, pay it. We don't have to know about it, right? Tell Jeff, look, we'll take care of you forever. Your kids are fine for generations and generations, but we have to make it look like we fired the hell out of you. Like, why can't we just do that? Like that whole heads will roll thing
at this point. Yeah, he's the only one really that's hearing the Fosun nonsense. Him and the social media admin. The rest of them, well, they don't care. I mean, I can't imagine people are coming up to Go in China and being like, "Oh, you shitty Wolves owner."
I guess.
I think you're giving Shee too much credit. I think he does it. I think he's just a figurehead. I think Fosun are profit-seeking enterprise, and they run this like that. And if you got rid of Shee, you'd replace him with someone else who has the same model, who probably executes it in the same poor fashion, who doesn't really make decisions. So I think you need to. The dream scenario is you find the Premier League equivalent of the Steve Ballmer, who loves his team and is willing to put his own money in. Because I think that actually the big fear is more owners are more like Fosun than not. So I think that's what's so challenging for me is I hate Fosun, but there's probably 10 other groups just like Fosun lined up to say, how can I make Wolves a profitable venture for me? Because you see it in most sports. So that's unless you find someone who loves the idea of owning and making it their toy, or someone in the Middle East, or someone who's potentially trying to launder money in some other fashion. I think
Donald
most
Trump,
people
baby.
just aren't trying to spend the money. It's just sad, but not as many people are in it for the love of the sport, unfortunately.
Josh, why are you throwing grenades in the middle of Kurt talking sense here, Josh? What are you talking? Come on.
I did see something online that was like, oh, Trump apparently played 6 games for the Wolves youth team or something. I had to chat GPT that, and that was a bunch of nonsense. So don't believe that rumor that's out there. But I mean, whatever. Now we need to, you know what we need to do as a podcast, Paul? We need to write a letter to Steve Ballmer or Mark Cuban pitching why it's a good idea to buy them. Might be, yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll talk to Danny. Maybe we'll come up with some ideas, have like a big proposal that we send. What the hell? What's it? Let's get one of those rich, crazy American guys in there.
It's got to be better than some of your outreach lovingly to Hugh Jackman. So you probably need.
Don't dog Hugh Jackman now. Hugh Jackman.
We need deeper pockets than that, I think. Come on.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman still makes sense.
John McKenzie says Robert Plant, has to have 10 rich friends he can get together. What if we were just like a rock and roll club literally owned by like 10 stars? That'd be kind of fun. They would probably have some trouble arriving at some decisions as well.
Tell Adam Rumor to get Lincoln Park buying it. Let's go. Chop. I don't think they can afford it either. Okay, we do have 2 games this week. 2 chances for a shit show. All right, I can't wait. First one is Wednesday. It is a League Cup game against Chelsea, which of course means we're gonna win. It is at 3:45 Eastern, 2:45 Central Time. I mean, it's exciting, right, Paul?
No, not at all. But it's totally the way that when we were a clamour for these wins, and the last thing you want when you're in such a rut is a cup run, and we're on one, and it'd be the most Wolvesy thing to possibly go and do is to beat him, and I could totally see that happening, and I could totally see that's the type of thing that keeps Vitor in a job. That win may grant him grace even if he loses on Saturday as well. So I don't think it's good for many of reasons, even if we do win.
Drew Freakin asked a no stupid question. Alex, you want to read it?
He did, and he tweeted it from Drew Freakin on X. And he says, would a 5-0 win bring any fans back this week? I'm just laughing because 5 is the amount of goal scorers we have. Would a 5-0 win over Chelsea bring any fans back this week, or is this broken until some semblance of Premier League success, a sacking, or a sale? We've talked about all these things already, a sacking, a sale. We haven't talked about success, actually.
I don't think it would help. I mean, I don't even know if anybody's going to be at the match Wednesday.
It's like that there exactly is what it's such a telling thing, in that you should be a club of our stature established in the Premier League, having Chelsea come to town on a midweek good quality opponent that you're looking around thinking, beat these, we could see Wembley from here. And it's just like the complete opposite. And gone of those days. I vaguely remember some of those from growing up, and you'd get the Premier League team coming into town you for a cup game, and you put on a decent show, and Wednesday's going to be maybe a very push 20,000 at the most, and that place should be packed to the rafters, light show, fireworks, everything, and it's a complete opposite.
I cannot wait until Wolves make it to the finals in Wembley, only to lose to Wrexham and get relegated. Oh, that would just be chef's kiss right there.
I think the actual thing that you could see would be an inflection point in all this is if you win 5-0, which I again probably not ever going to happen. I wouldn't bet any amount of money that we'd even win 2-0. But if someone like Mateus Mane or one of these guys who hasn't gotten any run with the senior squad comes out and has this incredible debut, I think that's something that could change. It gives some people some hope that, hey, that's where the goals can come from for the rest of the season. Outside of that, even Fer Lopez, if he comes out, plays the whole match, he puts up 2 or 3 goals, maybe that's a difference maker and gets people excited. But otherwise, I don't see, even in a blowout win, which is not going to happen, I don't see how that changes people's opinions.
Well, let's talk about predictions. Kurt, what do you have for this match?
I think we're going to do what we've done almost every match this year. We're going to look good in spurts. We might score a goal, but we're going to give up 2 or 3 easy ones. So if I'm being realistic, we probably lose 3-1, and our goal is probably more impressive than their 3 that they score on us.
Okay. Alex, I almost feel like that's a positive thing. Alex.
Yeah, I think we're gonna lose as well. Chelsea's coming off of a pretty, well, I guess it's not as bad of a loss as it may seem on paper with Sunderland, but a home loss to Sunderland. So they're probably, they probably got like chewed out by Enzo Maresca, and even if he doesn't care that much about this competition and rotates his squad, it's Chelsea. They have like 3 squads, and any number of players they want to pull from their bench would be like the first name on the team sheet for Wolves, sadly. So, I like the 3-1 shout. Can I just go with Kurt on that one?
Yeah,
I think that one makes sense. Yeah.
By the way, I forgot to update the standings. I didn't even pick for 2 weeks, and I'm still in the lead.
How is that possible? Come on, man.
I got 7 points. You and Paul have 5, and Danny. All you guys have 5, and then the guest spot with 2. Paul, what are you thinking here? I know you're Mr. Positive with this.
I've got to go for a Wolves win just for shits and giggles. And it's got to be the most outlandish type of win that we can get, which is it's either like a 3-2 last minute winner or a tie and we go through on penalties. So let me take that 2-2 draw and we win on pens.
Wolves PK. Yeah, I really like the PK. Since we're going absurd, I could see an absurd game. Let's do it. Wolves 4, Chelsea 3. 2 goals by Wolves in the final 10 minutes. Put us through. There we go. That's absurdity for you. And then we get Fulham, where we get to see our boys. Well, Raul's hurt, I think, but Raul and Adama Traore on Fulham. That's Saturday. Great opportunity to ruin the whole weekend early. That's fantastic. It is 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time. Paul, what type of lineup are you expecting?
Like, no idea. Just because there's no continuity, there's not players in form that really pick themselves apart from Manetzi. And that's down to the coach's loving. Like Santi got found out badly yesterday. I thought, do you bring a new centre back in? But then that goes to change again and consistency and having confidence in your defenders if you're the goalkeeper, having confidence in your goalkeeper if they're defenders. Like Hoover, Chachua, whomever, you're just switching out one for another there. So like I don't know what to turn to based on this squad, really, of putting an 11 out there that look semi-competent, semi-creative, and a chance of scoring away from home and probably needing to score more than one to win. It's like, I'll go back to Arias again, still not understanding his best position. It's like, well, even if you're looking to accommodate him as well and you're looking to play two up top, then that in theory is a totally new formation again. So it's just change after change, no consistency. Like you're not going to get anything from that constant chopping and changing, be it players, formation, or whatever.
Who starts in goal, Kurt?
Probably Dan Bentley. Let's be real. It's not going to be Saw or Johnston. They got to keep Bentley a little bit happy. He'll probably be back there, and he probably is just as good as Johnston or Saw at this point. I don't know. It's sad. I feel like none of the three give me that much confidence. But nothing tells me that it won't be a goal that someone couldn't stop anyway. That's the challenge. Is I almost feel like versus Fulham, I'd love for us to just sort of play ultra defensive, play with a bit of a counterattack, and have as many defenders on the pitch as possible, and just see if we can steal a draw there and try to have something to build on. I'm just unfortunately in this mindset where it feels like we need something to create some momentum, and I think being too aggressive, I don't trust our defenders to be able to react then on the counter.
Alex, Fulham's not doing too great either. You could almost say they're lowly Fulham, perhaps. I don't know.
God,
That's your thing.
Well, we're really, really lowly Wolves, but yes, you can say that. They've
and so a win kind of puts them, still in the mix, right?
Yeah. I mean, I look. At the end of the day, Fulham are 17th, right? So for Wolves to really get out of this mess, you're going to need at least one team that's not in the relegation zone to slip up. So you want to see this slide continue for Fulham, who have not now they have won this year, but they have not won in the league since mid-September when they beat Brentford. So they've got 3 straight losses in the league and haven't scored more than a goal since that win over Brentford either, including in their Carabao game against Cambridge. So they're struggling as well for score goals. So yeah, it's an opportunity. The door's open for Wolves. It's now or never.
Okay, Kurt, what's your prediction?
I think we can win it 1-0, especially if we don't, if we're more defensive and we play a little bit more cautious. I know no one wants to see that, but I think we're at the point where we have to play some old school Nuno ball and maybe start Chichua, start some people with some pace, and Tulu can play longer. I'd love to see him get a chance instead of JSL, but I don't know what his fitness status is. It still seems bizarre that we're treating him like Sasa and worried about him getting broken every time we trot him out there. But
and yet we throw Hoying out there all the time.
Exactly. There is no logic. But I would love for us to try to bring out 3 center backs and try to be a little bit more cautious and play for 1 goal.
Okay, Alex?
So I love that idea, and I would love to see a clean sheet, but I would assume, barring anything weird during the week or an injury, that Iwobi is going to start, and that means he's going to score. So that's at least a goal for Fulham. So I'm going to say 1-1, which is going to do nothing for anyone at this point.
Point's a point.
Yeah, well, right. But, we'd still be sitting here asking all the same questions if this manager should be here, if we're, et cetera, et cetera. So,
okay. So, Paul, you're picking Wolves 5-0, right?
No. I'm going for that 0-0 again.
Oh.
That I can't really see it. I like Kurt's 1-0 away win, and I think if there's any chance of this getting turned around, it's a performance like that, and not a lucky goal, but like that one on the break or a penalty or something that we're able to get and hang on to. But just for some freshness, I'll go 0-0.
And I'm still just looking at the schedule. I cannot believe that there is a possibility we can play Sunderland, Burnley, and Fulham and get no points. Like, which I don't think we will. I think it'll be the same old story. It'll be 1-1. We're trying to hold them off. We'll probably be the one doing the time wasting this time. And then somebody lets Adama get the ball and he fires a screamer from outside the box and we lose 2-1. And then he looks at Jeff Shee and goes, "How's that for luck?"
Damn.
No Stupid Questions is brought to you by Esfuerzo Wines. Located just north of Santa Barbara, California, Esfuerzo Wines showcases passion and 3 generations of winemaking in every bottle. Whether you're toasting some vino de Vitor or winding down after a day of work, let Esfuerzo Wines transport you to the heart of wine country with each sip. Now at esfuerzowines.com, you can use the promo code VITOR, that's VITOR, at checkout to receive a 30% discount off your order. And don't forget to try the special edition 1-pack wines to show your passion and support for Wolves with each glass. This message is intended for those of legal drinking age. Do not drink and drive. Excessive alcohol consumption may be harmful to your health. If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol abuse, please seek help. Esfuerzo Wines reminds you to enjoy their product responsibly and in moderation.
No Stupid Questions, the time of the show that you, the listener, can ask us anything related to Wolverhampton Wanderers. You can do so by getting us on X at WLWpod is our handle. You can email us hello@wholelotofwolves.com, or you can pop a question into the chat for those of you who are watching live on the show's YouTube page at Whole Lot of Wolves or on Facebook, Whole Lot of Wolves. And I said damn before that because Josh is also choosing violence by predicting an Adama winner at the bus. Like, come on, dude. That's insane. But anyway, we'll move on to...
Is it really insane? I don't know.
Let's move to the No Stupid Questions and get to this one from our friend Drew Breyer, who asks, when my team is out of the title picture, I often find myself rooting against others if I can't be rooting for my team. Are you rooting against anyone this year? Paul, anyone you're hate watching? Come on.
No, like I've cut all contact off with soccer right now. I'm like, if I catch a highlight on Twitter, that's the only thing I'm really seeing from EPL. The only one I'm rooting against is the Albion. They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, that's a given, right?
I am definitely rooting against Liverpool, not just because I still hate them, but they have been a freaking parlay killer this season.
Oh,
like, screw those guys. Every time I'm like, oh, they're going to end this losing streak. Throw them in a money line and a parlay. You think that's good? No. If what? Four parlays in a row? Screw them. Never again. It's like Brentford used to be the parlay killer. Well, I guess they were this weekend, but
yeah, but for the other reason. Kurt, anybody that you're actively rooting against?
Probably Man U. I think they're an easy one for a number of reasons to root against. And then Man City. I think Man City is one I think forever will root against because I feel like they've had unimaginable amounts of luck, and then they never get in trouble for spending way more than seems even possible every window. And then for that same reason, probably root against Chelsea just for being rich, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm all the usual suspects again. Although I do hate to say that I kind of feel like we're entering an era where we're going to have to watch Man United be good again, and like. I never really had to do that. Like at least since like Wolves came back up, like in a real way where they're like fans are annoying so I was like very much rooting against them and thought they were going to collapse against Brighton, and they didn't. And instead they got another goal. So that kind of sucked. So Man U would be my number one answer for that. Of course, other than West Brom, but like, when am I ever going to watch West Brom? Next year, probably.
Next year.
New England Wolves. We may be last in the league, but we're first in drama. if chaos were worth 3 points, where would we be in the standings?
I mean, it'd probably be us and Man U, right? Right. Well, and not in Forest.
Forest has
Yeah.
to be number one.
Yeah, we're in the Champions League places with Forest for sure. I was gonna say I can't think of another club that has as much drama, but their drama is definitely league leading, I think.
And theirs is mostly self-inflicted too.
Yeah,
You could argue that some of ours isn't necessarily. A lot is, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's do this one that Joey writes in the chat. And he asks, who leaves the club if and when we get relegated, and who is staying? So there's always like this conversation about, well, these players are too good for the championship, so they'll definitely get sold. But the only thing I would ask is, are they? Because we suck. Like, maybe they're not too good for the championship at this point. It's always like, oh, Wolves on paper are better than Team X that we're playing, but like, are we? I don't know. We're looking around. It's like no one's getting us out of this mess. Anyway, let's go through quickly, Paul. Who's definitely gone?
I think the only ones for me are those that are trying to get in this like a top 10 ranked national team. So João and Andre,
Yeah,
someone like potentially Sarr, who probably wants to play first team football somewhere and would go anywhere to do it. I think like the likes of Johnson, you'd keep as a capable championship keeper. Bueno, Chachua, championship standard, arguably, that they've not done anything elsewhere to give us encouragement to the opposite. Same for Santi Bueno, really. JSL probably gets his move, but apart from that, I'm generally thinking who'd be on the move out of what they've shown this season.
Well, I think Andre is going to be gone at the end of January. So for him, for sure. Yeah, I'll just throw that out there. We'll talk about that next time. Zhao gone, JSL gone, Huang going to be gone. I don't know if Krejci, I don't know if that was an obligation loan. I could see him finding a way to get out of it. I will say that I look forward to Tolu winning the Golden Boot in the championship next year.
That Belgian league's probably the same standard. So if you score,
that's what I think
over
too,
there,
yeah.
then he could be
and I think
in the 20s.
I think he's going to boss some of those championship backlines.
Yeah.
I think the only one we haven't mentioned is maybe Agbadou goes as well, especially if he thought he was deserving of first team football. He probably finds his way out. I don't think he's going to be too excited to stay on the bench, especially down in championships. So that's the only one. Otherwise, I think we nailed it.
Yeah. I could talk myself into a championship back three of like Mosquera, Bueno, maybe if he stays, and I don't know. Totti would probably go. I don't know. Here is the sad part about
you look at this roster and go, oh, we should fucking clean up in the championship, like with the guys we have. You look at it, there's no reason we can't like get 100 points next year in the championship. And yet, we're going to be sitting here in November in the championship going, we're going to League One. We can't even watch them on Paramount Plus. What am I going to do with this subscription to Paramount
The leadership
Plus?
doesn't appear out of nowhere. That's the challenge. Is even when we go down, I think you got to bring in some guys who have some leadership qualities. So give me some early 30s, mid 30-year-old guys who can actually give us some leadership.
Connor Cody? Bring him from Wrexham, baby.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have like actual English players. Not that that's like a requirement, but like maybe some guys who played in that league before, because it's brutal. I think here's a damning indictment on Jeff Shee's good window. Not a single player that we just bought this summer, in a summer where we lost stars, right? Stalwarts at the club for a while now, like Semedo, Aït-Nouri, etc. Not a single one of the new players I think is a shoe-in to leave, because they're not head and shoulders above that level. And that's why we're in the mess. So I don't even think you could say Arias would definitely leave unless you just. I mean, I would assume he'd want to leave England, but if he didn't,
He wouldn't go to another English team, or maybe
no, he's not.
maybe
He's
just-
not getting in a Premier League club. No way. For Lopez, it could stay and develop if he wanted, or go back to Spain. But like nobody's leaving because they're too good for the Championship. Of the new signings, that is. Let's wrap on this one, which this is going to be telling about the type of people you guys all are, as well as Wolves. But Stu asks, does your Christmas tree go up before Wolves win a game? So, I mean, some people might be getting ready to put their Christmas tree up very soon. So it's really dependent. So let's go quickly around. Josh, when do you put up your tree? And do you think you're going to get a win before that date that you normally put up?
Assuming I'm in town and everything, it goes up right after Thanksgiving. And so looking at the schedule there, that's Fulham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Villa. Yeah. Nope. But the good news is the Christmas tree may bring good luck in a win against Forest.
Yeah. Tricky trees. Tricky Christmas trees.
And in which case, that tree ain't coming down the rest of the year. If they start getting on a winning streak, I'm just tell my wife, yeah, you just got to suck up this tree. She already noticed Sunday I tried to wear my lucky Alabama shirt to see if some of those vibes would play off on the Wolves. And even that didn't work.
Yeah. Kurt, what are we thinking?
I think there's a chance. I think there's any given match we have a chance. So I think there's a chance we put up a win before. Even Villa, I think if we play well, it's just how many stupid mistakes do we make. So I'll say we'll get that win before the Christmas tree goes up, whether we deserve it or not. So that's that.
Paul?
I've always been adamant in our house, and it's been gradually chipped away each year, that we're doing nothing with Christmas decorations until December the 1st, and that's gradually been pulled back to Thanksgiving now as well. So it's either Thanksgiving afternoon if you're in town, or on the Friday. It seems I'm off, so I'll be that weekend at some point.
I'm laughing because John says I'll be watching Saturday from a tree stand, so at least I'll have something to jump out of when they blow it.
That may be my favorite comment this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're spoiled because in America we have Thanksgiving, which is just like the ultimate appetizer for Christmas. So it is a very easy landmark date to be like, this is when Christmas starts. So that's usually
it's
when
a
I would
gluttonous
do it.
holiday, as you'd expect most American holidays to be.
Yeah, and it's a long weekend, so you have the time to go get the tree. So that's that's usually my date as well, Josh. And looking at it, they play Villa that weekend, but it's Sunday. So even if they were to beat Villa, so they would have to either win this weekend against Fulham, or beat one of Chelsea or Palace before the tree goes up for me. So I'm going to answer Stu's question and say I don't think they get a win before the Christmas tree goes up, which is kind of sad to say. But
Merry Christmas, everybody! Yay.
Yeah. Thanks to our friends at Esfuerzo Wines, esfuerzowines.com. Use the promo code Vitor at checkout for 30% off your order. Send Vitor the good vibes he needs. This guy needs a drink, just not in a pub with fans, because
I need a drink.
Alcohol into the equation is not going to necessarily help anything in terms of fan interaction these days with our good manager there.
Well, Kurt, how can we reach you?
I'm on Twitter as Original Bip, and that's the primary way. So look for me complaining about Illinois sports, Atlanta sports, as well as Wolves and Bears. So that's that.
Yeah, Kurt and me and Teddy Ely sharing our misery of Bears and Wolves. It's a sad bunch, really.
Thanks to Danny on the socials, Alex producing, and our audience as we put this together for you, no matter how bad the team is. You'd be doing us a huge favor and helping Whole Lot of Wolves grow by giving us a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform of choice, along with subscribing to Whole Lot of Wolves on our YouTube channel and leaving a comment. if you could go on there this week and tell us where you're listening to us from, that would be awesome. So we're going to be back this time next week to cover everything what happens in those two games and then preview another Chelsea clash. This time it'll be in the league away on Saturday, November the 8th. So as you are trick or treating this Halloween in your Jeff Shee costume, because nothing else could be scarier, be sure to tell everyone.
I think it's a good window.